Good morning. Um, and I mean, it's not, when I upload this, it's not gonna be, I don't know when I'm uploading this, but as the time of recording this, Happy Lunar New Year. Um, it's been kind of a interesting week. Um, I will say I'm not sure what I really want this channel to be. I've kind of revamped it a few times. I used to make, Sims building videos. And I used to, well, I mean, I wanted to be a writer since I was younger, so I used to make stories and stuff and make short stories for the videos. Those aren't on the channel anymore, but I did used to do that. I had ended up deleting them at some point, and then I tried to do like let's play storytelling, and most of everything that I've tried to do was in the realm of telling stories and such. And I'm not sure how long this is really going to be. Kind of just going to talk for a bit, and then it's going to end when I stop talking, I guess. And I made some notes here, but um, I've been called for a while to do, I guess, just not really a telling of my story, but talking about some of my life. Um, because my whole life I've been trying to find efficient ways to tell stories, and like, to put it simply, content creation is hard, even if you're not trying to make content for the masses or follow trends and such. I'm not really like, I'm not, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm not really inclined with like cinematography or videography. Um, I do well with painting, I do well with writing, um, that kind of stuff. So kind of trying to learn certain things, like editing has been not difficult, just extremely unintuitive for me. Um, and that's just talking over the years. Like, an old friend and I used to, I don't know if you've ever seen videos years ago of like doll stop motions. I'm sure people still make them. Um, and I've tried before, and it never really went anywhere. Um, but I also kind of just wanted to talk about, like, I've had so many videos planned, and I'm sure there's someone out here who maybe needs to hear this or even relates. Um, I don't know if I'm gonna be making many cuts in this one. I just kind of wanted a simpler something that I don't have to edit very much. Um, and I really didn't want to talk about my story or even about like certain things just because I don't know, actually. But I've been feeling called to do it since last year, and I've been avoiding it because I really didn't want to do it. But I have like 6 or 7 videos in backlog right now. A lot of it is hours and hours of footage that I just can't physically sit down to edit that long. Um, I suffer from fibromyalgia, and even though I am medicated, it's still not great. Um, if I pause, I have like a book full of notes that I wrote yesterday. So, um, but yeah, it's been a part of my life for a very long time. I think I was like, I don't know, between 5 and 7 years old when my doctor had suspected it. Um, it was kind of rough as a child, especially a very physically affectionate one when, you know, someone hugging you can hurt you. Um, and maybe I'll talk about like that type of stuff, like the family aspect in another video, but it was always pretty rough being the one who was always crying, especially being the only child in the family. Um, like knee scrapes, etc. Like it really fucking hurt. And it's not like looking back, it's not the same like, little kid getting hurt, where how you react is how they react. Like it was if I got a knee scrape, it felt like my skin. Well, I mean, obviously your skin's literally ripped off of you, but it's like you really feel that. And I don't know how to explain it to someone who's never felt it, but I'll kind of like go over because I have like, I don't know, 6 pages. um, and like that wasn't the only thing I went through. Like I had a lot of like unexplained shit that was just like random pains, whatever. Um, like I was the type of kid where like if you poked me, like people wouldn't believe me, but I'd feel it for like the next 2 hours, and it was like really fucking painful. And it wasn't. I say really painful in the sense of like it wasn't nearly as bad when I was younger, and I was a pretty active child. Like I used to do a lot of gymnastics. I was in skating at one point. Um, I used to run all the time, and Sorry, I'm just gonna read through this a bit. I wrote, like, I try to be really concise with the things that I make. It almost never goes that way. And part of it is like a perfectionism because I only have so much energy to do things. And like I'm realizing now that's not like the best thing, but um I wanted to at least make sure things made sense and were like in order. Um oh yeah. A few things were kind of roped into it. Around the age of 9 and 10, I developed like environmental allergies and allergies to like things like grass and stuff. And so I had issues where like, around. I also wanted to mention that by this time I had had a conversation with my principal and I also wasn't allowed to graduate a year early. So that also added a bit to the problem. They also didn't they refused to transfer all my credits. Um I would have only been 3 credits behind and I ended up 5 credits behind. Because there's a class that I took. Um so basically before Ford made his cuts, the premier before he made the cuts in like 2018, I think, or whatever year it was. Um they used to have classes that counted for 2 credits. And one of them was run at my school. It was like a computer tech class, but you had like a bunch of different units where you had like architecture, um, video editing, all that stuff. And that was worth 2 credits. And they refused to give it to me. And then there was another class that I had, and like there isn't even an excuse for that one. They just refused to give me the credit. So they transferred me over to the other school with basically I was behind 5 credits instead of 3. And like it was rough. Like the last quadmester, I barely made it through grade 11 math. And then I don't remember what I had, but oh, yeah, I remember what I had. So I had grade 11 math and then I was like, okay, you know what? I'll stick with my plan and do grade 12 English now because might as well get it over with. And I loved that teacher. And he really helped me through like actually getting school done. Um, like, well, not getting school done, but getting the work done. Um, because he noticed that like my participation level and my actual English writing level were very contradictory. Because if someone's studying to be a writer since the age of 9, they're probably going to be a high level writer, even if they're not, physically doing well. um, and so I finished all my grade 12 compulsory classes in grade 11. And so I just had electives. Um, and I'm kind of going to skip over the first semester of grade 12 a little bit. Just because, yeah, like mm, I don't even remember what I was taking, but like the teachers weren't great. I think we were still in quads by that point, actually. We might have been. But I remember that I had two classes, and then I ended up dropping both cooking and art class, because cooking, I mean, I'd already worked in a kitchen. It wasn't working. Um, and then art class I dropped because he was just a douche. And I'm like, if you're gonna be a pretentious douche to somebody who was literally in an art program, like, don't fucking play with me. I'm not doing this shit. So I got like most of my elective credits through co-op, which was great. Um, I still helped that teacher. She was my old teacher, in elementary school, but um, yeah, everything kind of around there's fuzzy. I technically graduated with my class in 2022, although I was like two elective credits behind because I had all my compulsory. Like they didn't care. I do want to clarify, I did actually get those done. Um, I was working with the resource teacher, and I did end up actually getting those two credits in. So I do, in fact, have my full diploma. It's even though it was just elective, and even the principal was like, I'd just give it to you because they're elective and they're not really important, but the school board won't do that. Um, and no, I didn't get to graduate a year early, obviously. So that was kind of a factor into like more of the struggle where like, I went through days before where I was literally in and out of consciousness. It kind of got worse after. And it wasn't until um a little after my 17th birthday. I think it was the November when I got to see a rheumatoid specialist. Uh I remember being so worried about going there because of everything I experienced with other doctors. Like even during COVID, we had gone to like several different specialists who worked with children, and they literally said straight to my face that, you're not actually in pain, you just think you're in pain. Which, like, how the fuck does that work? Like, I don't, like, they'll, like, lightly touch me and be like, oh, does that hurt? No. If you poke me, it will hurt. But then again, if you poke me, I'll probably subconsciously hit you back. Because it hurts that bad. Um, and I'm kind of backtracking here because some of this is kind of, what was explained to the specialist. Because I was able to get in because I was 17, so I was just on the cusp of being an adult, and he doesn't work with kids. And so, like, there were times, during, especially grade 10 was the worst, where, like, my mom would have to walk me and help me to the bathroom because I'd have to either, if I couldn't brace myself on the wall, I'd have to crawl there. And, like, I had already almost passed out like 2 to 3 times in the shower. And, he realized, like, it's not it's not even like a mild case. And I had obviously done my own research. I mean, my doctor had been suspecting it for 10 years at that point. Um, and he already knew that I knew kind of what my condition was. I didn't know the extent of it. He gave me an info sheet, which was nice. And then he had prescribed me some medication. It does work. Even now, like, I take it when I need it, but it makes me feel like shit, man. Like, if I take it too early, I'll fall asleep. Like, I can't, you know? Like, it's still rough when it comes to that. And, like, even after that, like, when I graduated, it's kind of fuzzy. I don't remember a lot. I did definitely lose friends. Um, I lost a lot of friends. Like, even growing up from, like, elementary school. I mean, that was kind of different because in the first school, technically second school, I was being bullied, but uh, the second one, like, we'd even gone to high school with some of them. And yeah, no, I definitely, like, I'm not sure if it's specifically because of my condition, but I wouldn't even get invited anywhere. Um, like when they'd go out and stuff. And, you know, when I switched school, everyone kind of just stopped talking to me. And then, yeah, by the end of grade 12, no, by the end of, fuck, I don't even remember. Like, when I say it's fuzzy, I literally mean, like, I don't, I lost so much sense of time because the only thing keeping me afloat was co-op. Because I was working in a school. I was a teacher's assistant. And that was like most of my life because I would come home and I would just sleep for the rest of the day. Like literally until the next morning. Half the time I wasn't even really eating, but I say a story for another time, but I can't even, with YouTube's guidelines, I can't. Um, and then the summer after, we need to talk about post-grad depression more, honestly. Like, it's something that I didn't learn about until I had it. And like, you know, I'd been like wrongfully diagnosed with depression and depressed for years because of, you know, social situations, you know, family, whatever, and my physical condition. But like, that was like the first time I ate probably, I don't know, 5,000 calories for the entire month of August that year of 2022. Um, and because of like other health conditions that I had going on, I only dropped like 10 pounds. But like, I'm not even exaggerating. I would genuinely go days without eating. Uh, and if I did eat, it was like maybe 400 calories was like the max I'd ever eaten that month. Um, yeah, like from then, I don't even know. really what happened. Um, yeah, but that's kind of been like I've been trying to work on art stuff. I've been trying to get into galleries, but obviously that's hard, and they got rid of a lot of artist programs here, so there's not really much to go off of. But I'm still working at it, and even how long later, like I'm still not working. It's not great. And a lot of times I wonder like what life could have been like if I didn't go through this. Um and like I found out actually recently, and by recently I mean like around September-ish last year when I had a psychiatrist appointment, um that it could have also been caused by like a minor head injury when I was a small child. And like I'm not talking like, someone like bashing your head in. I'm talking like, you know, toddler shit, like running into the fucking door, which I used to do quite often. um and yeah, I was basically told that like certain other things that I go through, like issues with medication and probably the fibro, are caused by it because it's kind of like there was an injured area that kind of got split, and obviously as your brain grows, it's kind of like cutting into sourdough bread. You make a little cut, and even if like it's a little shallow cut, and as it bakes it widens, that kind of stuff. um and like at least now I know like there's a practical reason for it, not one that you'd see like on a scan or anything, but knowing that it wasn't necessarily preventable, sometimes I wonder like if there's a version of me in another lifetime that doesn't have this issue. you know like I got so much of my, not even like just childhood, but just my life, and I mourn it all the time. you know Things that like I love working, and I wish I could, like I wanted to work in construction at one point, and I physically can't do that. um Even when it comes to physical activity, I've always wanted to be a part of the circus. And I've taken classes before, and it's a lot. And I usually end up crying myself to sleep. Um, because the pain, it's, and like sometimes I feel like I'm being dramatic. Like, I went through so much of my life trying to figure out like what the hell is wrong with me, and now like It's like I wish sometimes that I could just will it to go away. You know, that there is like an actual cure for it, even though, you know, it being on like a fundamentally uncurable state. And, you know, keeping friends hasn't been easy for a number of factors, but I always find that, like, I don't know, it's it's hard kind of being the friend that's not working where like things aren't really, getting off the ground financially. And I mean, I can say that, but I kind of do know what happened. Because I even used to do art commissions when I was younger. And I had to stop for a while because I couldn't do it. Um, and like it's times like that, and like when I look online to apply for jobs and, I try and gaslight myself into thinking it's really not that bad. And then, you know, I'll work a bunch on like projects and stuff and then just completely run myself dry and be completely out of commission. And it's not healthy, but, you know, it's also not great to feel like dead weight. And yeah, I have like other stuff written, but I think I've kind of said it pretty concisely. Um, and I haven't really talked about the piece that you're seeing in the video. I'm obviously doing the voiceover after the fact. Um, but I just kind of wanted something that had minimal editing needed. It's not even finished. It's still not finished. Like I kind of cleaned up some of the stuff, but it's still not finished. I don't know if I'm gonna finish it, but it was something to do and something to show for. And it's like 2 hours ish of footage that took me, I don't know, 5, 6 hours to make. And I wish things didn't take so long. Like, even like, I used to stream a bit and, I love streaming. I just can't sit for that long. And I don't have a standing desk either, so I can't like change, sit, and stand. But yeah, like in that regards, like I'm not gonna, you know, end it with a bunch of fluff and be like, oh, it gets better. Cause I don't know. I don't fucking know. but hopefully. Oh, my cat's wanting to come out. He is in for nap time after he ate, so. But yeah, like, I'm not gonna say that it gets better, because I don't know. And, hopefully it does. Hopefully it does for you, anyone who relates, anyone who's going through the same shit. Um, and like shit, like if you're going, especially through fibro and the same shit, like you're you're strong. 'Cause I go through times constantly where I just want to give up. I almost did a few times. I'm not sure why I'm still going, but I am. And I hope things get better for you if you're struggling. And I mean, for anyone who with fibro, I send you extremely light hugs because that shit hurts sometimes. And hugs to whoever else sees this. And I wish you the best.